Electric vehicles are getting very popular, especially electric two-wheelers. But what we are really going to miss out when the electric era comes in is this. The growl of an icy engine. Let's hear that. Wow, that makes my heart beat a lot faster. Isn't it exciting? Indian Motorcycle of the United States is a maker of very many motorcycles, right from the touring segment to the cruiser segment, to the bagger segment, and they have the Scouts, and then you have fast bikes like the FTR. Today we have the very popular Indian Chief Dark Horse. Well, this is powered by their famous V-twin engine, the Thunderstroke 116. This is a 1890cc or 1890cc engine. And this engine does great service across a broad spectrum of Indian motorcycles. So today we're going to talk about this Chief Dark Horse, its brand new features and how well it runs on the road. This is the Motown India show and my name is Roy P. Tharyan. Stay tuned. And as you go along, if you like this video, do not forget to give us the thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed to the Motown India channel, do so now. Now let me quickly tell you some of the features in and around this motorcycle, some of the switches, the handlebar, the seats. So to begin with, it's got a lovely fuel tank here, and this holds approximately 15.1 liters of petrol or gasoline, as they say abroad. And it's got a lovely dark badge of Indian Motorcycle with the figures 1901 written here. That's how old this company is. This is the fuel tank lid here. And quickly coming to the switches out here, you have the main switch to switch on the engine, then you have the kill switch, and then right at the bottom here you have the cruise control switch. There is also a switch here just behind the module on the right. The beautiful part about this motorcycle is that this is keyless, and many of us think keyless means put the key in your pocket and just press a button. No, this is even more exciting. In fact, in order to start it, you just have to switch it on here. You don't have a key at all. They didn't give us a key when we left the showroom. So you just have to switch it on with this button here. On the right, the 4-inch round screen lights up and slowly gets into action. You have to wait for a few seconds and then it starts showing you numbers 1 to 10 or 1 to 0. After 9 it's a 0. So you put in the 4-digit code and there's a green arrow that pops up. You need to press that and there is some kind of warning given here. You read that and press OK. Once you press OK, it's ready to be started. All you have to do is press the button below the kill switch and there, it is switched on. Now you'll be wondering what happens. Let me kill the engine. Now you'll be wondering, it's going to be a painful affair. Every time you stop the vehicle, you have to give the code. No, not really. Now suppose if you were to stop at a traffic light or for some reason and press the kill switch, the engine stops, but that doesn't mean the entire system is switched off. So you can switch it on again. There you go. That's it. Kill switch again. But if I were to press the off and on button and switch it off, then the entire system switches off. Now to switch on this machine, it would mean that you need to press that on button again and this thing lights up and the whole process starts where you have to feed in the 4-digit password. But each time, if you were to switch it off and switch it on and wait to move your fingers to feed the password, it can be a boring, lengthy process. You might just get bored. So try your best not to switch off the engine completely and switch off the machine and the system. It is better to use the kill switch. Now, on the left here, you have switches for your high beam, low beam, and the flash. You have the horn here, a pretty loud horn, then indicator buttons here at the bottom here, and then you have a button here for setting the screen. There are 2 settings. You can have this kind of a face to it, or you can have this face. So 2 good looking bright faces, and this is to activate your sound. Just behind this whole module here, you have a small little switch wherein you can keep surfing through the various functions of the screen. And of course, there is a button for music to switch it on. That's basically the sound. Once you're connected through the Bluetooth, you can of course hear music and telephonic conversations which you have. That's done through the Bluetooth, so which is quite handy. You can put your mobile phone in your pocket somewhere and have the Bluetooth headphones inbuilt into your helmet, or you can have it separately. Now, the USB slot is somewhere there. Now, fixing the USB jack into the USB slot can be a harrowing exercise. It's not so easy. You have to struggle a bit, and you can bring the cord up and connect it to your mobile phone. Now, what does the screen show? And before I talk about the screen, let me tell you, the screen is super clear and super bright. And I'm quite impressed. When I was riding, I noticed that it looks small, but you can really see each of the digits which are out there, and very clear. So a great job, Indian Motorcycle, when it comes to the screen. It's rare that you find such a bright and good screen. Now, quickly taking you through the functions here, you have functions for gauges, your function for bike, for ride, for map, for music, for phone. Now, within each of this, you have various settings. These rear view mirrors are amazing. I like the quality, and it's interesting that when you move it up and down, it's very stiff and nice. It's unlike you find in many bikes in India that this comes off very loose. So this is good. You want to change the angle of the mirror, you can do so by just changing it or turning it to your liking. Now that I'm in front, you find a very retro looking headlamp here, but it's just retro with a lot of modern features here up front. It's got a DRL, everything is LED about it, and very bright LED lamps constitute this headlamp. And you have LED indicators, and then you have the suspension fork here. And down here, you'll notice you have disc brakes in front as well as at the rear. Once you come to the rear, you find there are these 2 shock absorbers here. These are coil springs. You have one here and the other on the other side. And like I mentioned earlier, disc brakes, pretty large, pretty big, and very effective. And these are alloy wheels. Since this is a cruiser bike, alloy wheels make a lot of sense. And chunky tires. This bike is belt driven, so if you notice, instead of a chain, there is a belt. Many of the American bikes come with belt driven. They have their own advantages compared to the metal chain. As mentioned earlier, these are the V twin engine. It's got a V shape, that's why it's called V. And this is the front and the rear. This, at the time of idling or when not too much power is required, this gets deactivated. Since this engine is air cooled, it makes a lot of sense that this gets deactivated at times when it's not needed, because it can generate a lot of heat, which can be very uncomfortable for the rider, especially in the area in and around his thighs. The two exhausts coming out is joined together, but they continue to be separate, and they come out through two different exhausts. The motorcycle comes with a side stand, and once the side stand is deployed, it has this function of inhibiting your engine from getting into the first gear. The moment you put it in the first gear, it shuts off, so that's a safety feature. You have to pull it back for the motorcycle to move, and one is able to then engage the gears. These are the gears. The first gear being down and the rest 5 gears up. It's a 6-speed gearbox that this engine is mated to. Since this is the Chief Dark Horse, everything about this Chief is very dark, and it comes with just a rider seat. There's no pillion here, so it's a cruise bike, so you can cruise your way all alone, have some fun. So that kind of completes the overall looks and features of this Chief Dark Horse. Now let me come to the performance of this motorcycle. I've just ridden this bike for quite some time, and I must say it's quite an exciting bike. First, let me tell you about bikes in general. When you are riding an off-roader or a more sporty bike, the seat height is pretty high. There are ones with seat heights of more than 800 mm. But the beauty about this cruiser is that it's around 600 odd mm. You feel in total control rather than hanging and perching yourself on top of a very high bike. This one I personally prefer because you can take things very easy and you can feel very confident. So to begin with, the seat height being low, you're very comfortable and very confident. And coming to these handlebars here, they are just about perfect. It gives you a very cruiser feeling. Also, it gives you a race feeling. If you want to race, you go a little low. You want to cruise, you go like that. So it's not the conventional ones, the touring ones with your handlebars like this, and this is the only post you have. But in this kind of handlebar, you can slouch yourself if you want and pretend that you're racing, or go back a little and get into the cruising mode. So very well designed handlebar here, and the posture for a rider is amazing. And as I was riding, I also noticed that each of the 6 gears, they have extremely long legs. The beauty about these gears is that as you move to 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, and you drop down your speed, you really don't need to step down on your gear. You need not go from 6 to 5 to 4 to pick up speed. All you have to do is just give a raise, and it moves from that spot. So I went low on my speeds and just gave a raise, and it picked up from there. So very beautifully proportioned gear ratios. So for a cruiser, it's amazing. So you're on a road and you want to kind of slow down for some reason, and as you slow down, you can also pick up speed in the same gear. Also to tell you, at high speeds, it really behaved like a racing bike, and with this cruise control engaged, you can have real fun on the highways. As I was riding on some of the good roads and some of the bumpy roads, I noticed the suspension is pretty capable, and though a little on the stiffer side, but it did absorb most of the bumps, and I experienced a very comfortable ride. And equally important is the fact that at high speeds, this bike is so well planted. to the road. The ride-and handling is easy. Yes, corners can be a little tough in the sense you need to be very careful since this bike is heavy, but it behaves so well. And since it has these two large disc brakes in front and at the rear, braking is very, very confident.